Live from the Injured on the Go Just Call Mo studio.
It's a blast!
It's Orlando's own Tom and Dan.
Welcome to A Corporate Tom with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. Come see us. Just search at Tom and Dan Live and watch our podcast Monday through Friday in the beautiful Just Call Mo studio. There you go. Little studio Mo.
Ross McCoy's here. How you doing, Ross?
Mo VIP card holder.
Yeah.
Ross McCoy.
Yeah, man. That's a metal card.
It's a cool card.
Yeah, it is a very cool card.
You could sign up for free to be a Mo VIP metal card holder at justcallmo.com.
You can.
And you'll get a personalized metal card mailed to you.
Yeah, I signed us up. You and I.
All right.
I signed us up.
But then there are a lot of benefits.
Sometimes I think, though, that if Busdecker is like how you and I are, like if you and I had a metal card that listeners could sign up for, if like Ross signed up for it and I came across my desk, I'd be like, I know Ross, he doesn't get one. I'd only give it to the people. Right?
These things cost
you know
money.
What I mean? You know what I mean? Like I'd be all right, like I'll give him one last because I know him. But that's what you were thinking, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to pay to have this thing made for Ross.
So my point is, do you think Busdecker because I filled out the form, and I'll fill it out for you too. Well, you already have
I got one in my wallet right
Ross
now.
is taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay, great, great.
Yeah.
But I filled it out for the two of us. I think Busdecker would look at it and be like, well, they don't get them. They don't need it.
He'll spend Mo's money. I know, Bus.
Okay.
Whatever.
He does love spending money.
If it was out of his pocket, he wouldn't do it.
On vacation again, oddly enough, Busdecker. He's in Detroit right now. So we'll have to.
That's the Mo card.
Oh, wow. Listen to that.
Whoa. I know Ross isn't that into sports.
Somebody dropped their presidential Christmas ornament. I used to have a Christmas ornament that sounded like that. It was the White House.
Which president?
It would have been Reagan.
We'll get this over real quick.
Yeah.
And because obviously
Ross is allergic to this. You can't do this while he's here.
The two big games over the weekend to decide who's going to be in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And it's going to be a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl.
We've had that before 2 years ago.
Yeah,
right? We had that.
Yeah, and so there's one funny thing that I saw in the Eagles-Commanders game that, Ross, did you watch any of the games over the weekend?
No.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, we kind of guessed that.
So, and I'll kind of give you the gist of it. The Eagles.
It's an oblong ball, right?
It's the oblong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of shaped like a doo-doo.
It's football, but they don't use the feet.
I know.
Only a couple times.
Yeah.
Primarily hands. Anyway, so the Eagles do this play.
Soccer, they do use their socks quite a bit.
I know. A lot of socks in the game. That's what I thought it was for. It has nothing to do with it.
So the Philadelphia Eagles do this play that it's the dumbest name in the world that I hate even saying, but they call it the tush push or the brotherly shove.
You love it. You love tush push.
Don't make us say tush.
Sounds like a line dance.
Well, I'm gonna call it the ass shove now.
The ass shove. Okay, I like that.
Because it
The butt push.
So basically, the quarterback essentially gets the ball and then.
Why don't we call it the hiney lean?
How about the assault?
All right,
Oh, I like that. Assault.
Essentially, a fullback or another strong-ass
booty
player
booty.
pushes the quarterback from behind, which the Eagles essentially get 1 or 2 yards every time, and then people are all mad about it.
Oh, I know that place called the Shawshank.
The chat room, especially Eagles fans coming out. This is Christine saying it's a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, it's a
We
quarterback
could just call
sneak.
it a quarterback sneak.
With the only difference being that
they're pushing his ass.
Yeah, the players from behind are pushing him.
Yeah.
Which
It's the ass push quarterback sneak.
So anyway,
Now, are you doing this with your first string quarterback? Because this seems like you're pushing him into a meat grinder.
Yes,
basically.
you are.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
The Philadelphia Eagles are now. What's funny about that is Baltimore decided to do it with Mark Andrews, and I think that a lot more teams, once they saw Baltimore do it, like Andrews was just taking it instead of putting Lamar Jackson at risk of injury or whatever.
Why do that?
Just have your biggest player take they'd have to practice taking the snap, and you have a little worry about them bobbling the snap because they're not used to it. But anyway,
if you start practicing for it, it makes sense to me.
Anyway. So back to this, because this is the first time I've ever seen this.
Yeah, EJ says Kelsey's done it for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And so, although they didn't go to that.
They haven't done that in a minute.
which is weird because it seems like the Eagles are so good at it. Anyway, so they get it's first and goal on the 1 yard line. Maybe it ends up being second and goal because it ended up being the longest second down in NFL history. So the Eagles, they decide, hey, I'm just going to do this play over and over until I get a yard. Because, in fact, a lot of people have been saying that. Like, if it's just first and goal on the one, just
push the guy in.
Yeah, just do the push over. And
just
you
keep
get 4 times
over
Yeah.
until you fall in with
Sure.
the big fat people fall into. Yeah, it'll work.
And so the Commanders, like at this point in time, like the game was a little bit out of hand. The Eagles ran away with it. Like they ended up scoring 55
way
points.
out of hand.
But so I think the Commanders are just like, well, we're just going to do whatever we can to stop this, even if it's
Penalized.
Our linebacker jumping over the line of just trying to plan it so that to stop this play. So this guy, Luvu, from the Commanders, just starts jumping over the offensive line to try to stop the play.
His full name is Louis Vuitton. I don't know if you know that.
He just starts getting penalties after penalties, but they don't care because they're 1 foot from the goal, and then if you get a penalty that close, it's half the distance.
Half the distance.
So
right.
they just start moving the ball up by inch. So it happens over and over. And then finally the refs are like,
So are we going to investigate Zeno's paradox here in a football game?
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
how
Crazy.
close?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how close can you get it? So finally the
The
refs.
tortoise eventually steps over the halfway point.
What is half the distance of a gnat's pecker?
Yeah, and then the guy stopped jumping over, and then now
Well, he
it was
got
just,
tired.
but it was just the line jumping, and then the refs like they came out and they're like, if Washington continues to do this, we
Sounds
will.
like a parent, right? If you keep doing that.
We will award the Eagles a touchdown. And then,
Yeah.
and then the
I don't like that. I think you should be able to do it until the end of the game. I think you should be able to do it until forever.
And then the ref, like the ref analyst, I forgot his the Levitor or what is something.
Oh, when they go to the guy?
Yeah, he's like, there is a rule where the referees can award a touchdown.
What?
For
If the other team
like,
is acting like a child.
like for like egregious penalties that they're doing it on purpose over and over. And I'm like,
Yeah, because the game isn't progressing.
What, like when J.K. Rowling has Dumbledore come in and just say Gryffindor wins, even though Slytherin has 1 billion more points than them?
and then I was
the
like,
NFL can do that?
I was like, oh, please let it happen, because I was like, keep doing it and let's see if let's see it happen.
Make them do it.
Because then there's so many other weird things, and like who gets credit for the touchdown? The whole team? Like in the stats?
I don't know.
Do that points get left out of the stats? Does the quarterback just automatically get credit for a touchdown if the referees it's never happened? And I was like, man, it was so close to happening. And
is the quarterback getting like 4 inches rushing every time he moves forward? Is that getting added to his total?
Yeah, it would just be penalties.
Less than a yard.
2
right.
inches. Yeah.
Right. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, that was because I like it when something that's never happened before has a chance of happening.
Well, then you should be pretty happy about old Andy Reid, right? I mean, you should be leaning that way. Shouldn't you want old Andy Reid to get his thing that's never been done before? Does that make him the greatest head coach of all time?
There's lots of different.
But that's a great metric, right?
Everybody's going to argue this forever if they do win 3 Super Bowls in a row. That's the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl for the third time.
You know what's most impressive? And he did it. Saying Bundalaruski, dude. All of that, and he's in a commercial where he looks into the camera and says Bundalaruski, dude, and looks like a complete and utter idiot. And that's got to make all the other series coaches mad, right?
Yes.
That he eats the hamburgers and acts like a silly guy.
I think he's
the guy.
He's that kind of personality, which makes him a unique football coach. That
he's a one of one. Is there another guy like Andy Reid that's that fun but also that successful?
No, because Belichick has always been grumpy.
Ditka would laugh back in the day. Ditka would
you
joke.
know what? That's it. For a non-sports guy. I mean, I can always count on you to bring. That's actually a really good choice.
Or are we thinking that is it some sort of psychological illusion because of SNL and so many Ditka?
Hold on.
I mean, Matthew McConaughey was just dressed, and I saw in a commercial like
Fumble-rooski.
He's dressed like Mike Ditka doing the Bears thing, I
actually like the, and I do not like Matthew McConaughey, but those commercials where he's like, Jerry's eating rice. Those commercials are great. They're great commercials. They're really funny. And old what's his name went to Germany and got the stem cells, but didn't talk about it. Was out San Francisco.
Oh, McCaffrey, yeah.
He is not a bad actor. playing himself.
Yeah.
Like he's not bad at all.
Yeah. Some football players are super awkward in commercials.
He's
but,
not. He's pretty good.
He's good.
Let's go back to these referees, because what is the line? Like, how many times would they let that play run? Because, like, I understand.
How many times would you let it run?
Well, infinite, because at a certain point, like,
me
somebody's going to fumble, something's going to happen. You keep running that play, it's going to end up differently, whether it takes, like, 4 tries or 400 tries. Let them keep going until somebody fumbles or somebody strips somebody or they finally push it in or something.
Well, the problem was the defense was just because they were jumping off sides, and, like, so you keep having to move the ball up by half the distance.
Then
and
give that player a personal foul, get him off the field, bring in the next guy, keep doing it till they're out of players. Let's play the game. Like, refs can't just assign points. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Ross on this one. You got to let it go. Just let it go.
And I was mad at the Commanders for not keep doing it. They didn't keep doing it. They just finally said, all right, we won't jump off sides.
Well,
and then
it's the equivalent of
and then they got the touchdown. I was like, just let the refs.
See, that's interference.
But it's the equivalent of you're playing a game where there is a rule like that, and you keep doing it to be annoying, and everybody hates you, and you're saying not rules are rules, and I like that. I've kind of,
And what I can't get my head around is why the Philly can do it so well, and then we watch the Bills game, and Josh Allen got stopped twice, and he's not doing it like Philly, like do it like they do it. He's like doing a traditional quarterback sneak, and like he's doing a little push, but it's like you need to go straight ahead and get the arrow put. Anyway, I don't know. It seems like
what I would do is I would ball into a ball and I'd have you throw me over, right? Like I think 2 guys holding me like and I
I think
I fly through the air.
There's some rule about using.
You can't throw a man.
No, like using other players for leverage to like jump. I know there's,
I think if you gave me like a dragon's tail, like if you gave me like a dragon's tail, I could run up like as fast as I can.
Like that would be interesting if you got a little, you had one little person on your roster as an emergency running back. And then you had the hold on.
We're reinventing the game here.
And then you have the
you got Ross's attention. He woke back up. Ross is in.
Like 2 guys throw him as high over the line.
I think I'm perfect for it. Once I get my hips redone, I'm perfect because you don't want a really little person. You can't have a waddler
like
out there.
Like a little.
You gotta have a real. You gotta have like a tiny man like me.
But like a little gymnast, like a light gymnast, and then he ran, and then you just threw him as high as you could because you could get 10 feet.
He did a flip.
You get 2 male cheerleaders, like one of the slight ones, and then one of those big beefy ones.
Yes, a beefy.
Hand the ball to the slight one, and the big beefy one does that 2-hand thing.
Yeah, he
just up and over them.
Yeah. I think an old skidoo, an up and over,
Anyway.
People would watch the hell out of that.
Hell yeah.
Tell me you don't get excited when you see them hand the ball to a receiver, and then he throws a perfect spiral, and then the tight end catches it, and then they're like, oh, yeah, he played quarterback. He was a quarterback in college. And I'm like, oh,
there's a lot of that.
I love all that. Like, do way more of that.
As a guy who doesn't watch a lot of football, anything other than 2 lines of guys running into each other, nothing happening, and then reset for 4 minutes.
I'm a purist,
anything other than that.
Ross. Give me some crazy stuff. But it was. I wouldn't say it was a great weekend of football. I didn't watch those games.
The Bills-Chiefs game was.
It was good.
It was really close.
The Commanders game was.
It could have gone either way.
More
a blowout.
More along the lines of this was a younger team with a new quarterback, and it was a lot more hype, and they were lucky to be there. And you don't want that. You want it to be more even, you know.
And the turnover regression finally got them. And you know, like they were on the plus end of that the whole year, and then
this is the boring part.
Anyway, so I'll move on.
If you can't hold on to the ball, if you can't hold on to the ball, you're done.
We'll move on.
They just kept like dropping. Every time I turned around, they're like, and a fumble, interception. I'm like, all right.
We'll talk about the Super Bowl the week of. Anyway.
Yeah, we're done for a bit, so you guys will be happy.
So a couple things. Ross, what'd you do over the weekend?
A couple of comedy shows, a little bit of trivia. We did a What Do You Want From Us at Framework Coffee, Dan's favorite comedy show here in town.
I do love that comedy
Got another
show.
one coming up the 22nd at the Bull and Bush, Dan. Put that on your calendar.
The 22nd of February.
We're going to do it at the Bull and Bush again. Nobody with Tourette's allowed in.
Love it.
Last time,
last time I was there,
they literally talked through the whole show.
Yeah, there was
wild.
It was pretty. Like, I say it was fresh from COVID, fresh for me from COVID, but it was like the guy was like answering back everyone that talks. Like, you know, the one comedian's like, "How you guys doing? I'm doing great. How are you?" Like he's like that guy. You know,
and
like, immediately-
interjecting with just like swear words here and there. If he didn't have Tourette's, it was a good impression.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But that is a very fun comedy show. And as far as I know, it's the only comedy show where you get to be a part of the show by selecting the jokes that the comedians tell you.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Orlando Science Center Beer Fest on Saturday.
Science beer.
That was fun.
It was a beautiful day.
Fantastic
like
day.
I was so ready to get over the wet cold because it is like I've been to like a lot of cold Colorado every year.
You've been everywhere, man.
And then it is when it's humid and cold. It's way colder and 45 degrees than 45 dry.
It makes my hands not
It is.
work. There's a wet cold where like I can't, like I have to go to the bathroom and like pour hot water in my hands to get them to type. You know, I know that's like a first world problem, but
I love when it's like 50 here and I call like my parents and my sister and it's like 2 degrees where they are and there's 10 feet of snow on the ground. I love it.
Yep.
It's the best.
we do complain about it a lot, right? Like,
But no, but from the other perspective, like, because I grew up in the snow, you know, walking to school and like snow over your head, and like, oh, it's so much better here. It's such a better place.
yeah, it really is. Even when it's cold.
Even
you know?
when it's a little chilly out.
Yeah, and it was, man. It was pretty damn cold.
No, I was wearing a ski suit like everybody else, dude. My blood's thinned out.
Me and Daniel took a lift from Baldwin over to the Science Center because Daniel
Like a scissor lift or like that's
yeah,
a
we
long
drove a
way.
scissor lift. It took like
Well,
3 hours to get
It's
over there.
wild. Those
my
little
Uber is
wheels.
still shut down.
Yeah, I'm glad
for
you did that.
years because it's like you could open it back up, but you have to show me the last transaction, and I'm
he
like,
can't.
well, it's 4 years ago. I don't even know where to find that now.
Yeah, it's
what the hell
impossible.
is going on?
So that account has been compromised.
So I-
shut it down.
I just use the lift.
I was going to drive, but it gets a little tight over there at the Science Center. So I was like, well, maybe we should
Yeah,
just take a
parking.
lift because I drove around there earlier in the morning and it was already like pretty much parked out.
Do you not use that garage across the street?
That's where I was kind of banking where
Yeah.
everybody was going to
Oh,
go.
okay.
So I was like, maybe it'll just be better if we take a lift. So we met here, and then you had to call the lift because I don't even have rideshare on my phone anymore.
So we get in the car and we're driving. It's a short drive, and then Daniel's a chirper. So
This is not my fault. They were chirping me.
yeah. Well, 2 chirpers.
I got pulled in.
yeah,
I got
yeah.
pulled. I got chirpinated.
It's kind of up to the driver.
Yeah. Well, this chirper was doing the thing, and I will. If you're gonna give me context clues, if you're gonna give me clues, if you're gonna leave me breadcrumbs, I'm gonna bite because I figure there's a reason you want to say this. And this particular driver, she had on a wig, and she had referred to just moving to Orlando, and then telling us like, hey, once I get my surgery done, I've got to get my surgery this.
Yeah,
I'm
she
going to New York to
mentioned-
get my surgery, and I was like. They were like, and I was like, well, hey, good luck with your surgery. Like, I was just like, I'm in, you know, like, hey,
Yeah.
I'll play.
Yeah.
It was it was blatantly obvious
yeah.
that she was talking about like a transition surgery. Right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Which I almost pulled this joke that I pull all the time when and tell me if you like this, Ross. Is it where
This is a new bit we're doing called If He Had Done the Joke,
and-
Would You Have Laughed?
I do it with gay people all the time, where if someone is so
I wish we did drops on this show.
where if someone with a male or female, if someone is so obviously gay, right? And and I know you like this. No one's obviously gay. There's no gay anything. But I'm saying,
But
like,
if they are,
I'm saying it is.
You're over-explaining. Just power through.
No, I know, yeah. But I'm saying it is
Just do
so
the goddamn joke.
It's so obvious, like the person.
if I've gone through my checklist and 3 or more factors have determined they are gay,
And who knows? It could be a Chrysler scenario where I'm like thrown out, like, oh, straight up here. But I'm just saying, like, oh, it's just so overly
Yeah.
the top flamboyant that it's just like
We
it's
get
obvious
it.
to
Yeah,
everybody.
We're in. You're fine. You've done enough.
I often like to turn to Crystal and say, I wonder where this guy's wife is. to be so ignorant,
Yeah,
like to not understand.
dumb old man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dumb old man
Yeah.
to be like, I had this guy's wife let him leave the house like this, anyway, or something
Yeah.
like. And then I just say that because
I
it's
will
so
say
stupid.
that this person was like the hardest to read because when we got in, they had to turn down their Morgan Wallen. The loudest Morgan Wallen you've ever heard playing. The loudest country music blasting.
But I was gonna do when they're like, she was like, I'm doing my surgeries up in New York because they have better doctors, whatever. I made
a joke about that. I go, you don't want the hillbillies around here cutting on you, and she was like, I know.
It was blatant. It was a transition surgery, but I was gonna go like, oh. Heart surgery? What are you gonna do?
right.
Like I was gonna be ignorant.
I would have laughed at that. Yeah.
Anyway, but then
she would have laughed at that.
They also brought up a point that I thought was interesting, and she was saying like, I want to move to Florida because I feel like it's safer here for me.
Yeah.
Because I see police at all the schools and all the events, and I see a lot more police than I see in New York.
And I was like, that's weird. Is like she's like, the number one thing I get out of driving around here and lifting people around is that I see police everywhere. And I go, I looked at her, I go, I've never really thought about that. So I said, do you feel safer as a person of trans, and they're like, oh yeah, way better here, way better. And Tom and I were like, whoa. And I said, well, I'll take that as a compliment to my city that you want to move here because you look around and you go like, well, this place is for me. I'm like, well, I'll take that as a compliment. That's very kind.
Obviously, it's one person's opinion, so what it doesn't represent every transgender person's opinion. But I found it super interesting that she thought that Florida was safer, at least perception wise, than New York City.
I would have never gotten that tidbit if she had not chirped me. But that was an interesting. Yeah. And you even said that. You were like, really? Like, of just like because he has to do the. You sure about that? Like, even to
yeah. You think Florida, like, if you lived in New York, you're like, Florida's a podunk, swampy South kind of. Like that's the reputation I believe that we have. Sure. That we were.
You find parts of it that are like that.
No, of course. Or you find parts of New York, but like in New York City, you would think is like way more progressive and big city, like transgender, any sort of anything.
Yeah.
That no one bats an eye at. You go to Florida, it's a little more eccentric here. But not to this person. Anyway.
With only the Florida experience of it, really, I'm going to say the difference maybe is that my personal opinion of like the cops in Orlando specifically, they don't do a lot of your like speeding ticket type cop stuff, like where they're looking for you to be doing something so they can write you a ticket to make a little bit of money. They're more like around to help if you need them than like out there looking for you doing stuff wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's small town.
I would
because
agree. I've never been. Again, I'm a white guy, so I mean, take that for what it's worth.
From that perspective,
I've never been walking downtown. Even I might have been doing bad things, like drinking when inappropriately or smoking weed.
Exactly.
I've never had a cop like fuck with me. No.
This is ACT.
No.
Oh, Dan did it. Yeah. Great day in the morning. I love it.
Oh, my God. And then I did that. And then I poured my drink everywhere. Oh, my God.
Oh, this is good luck. This is like when a bird craps on you. It's good luck.
All right, let's take a break because Daniel spilled Mountain Dew everywhere.
It's okay. It's fine.
Kerr said the F word. He's out of control.
It's not like you have to edit it. So why are you worried about it?
I like when a guy visibly vibrating with stress screams, "It's all right. It's all right."
Calm. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have more corporate time.
And if it sounds different, it's because Dan spilled Mountain Dew on the board.
Welcome back to a corporate time. So, Ross, I know you like cool machinery.
Yeah, dude.
Is it really? Is that a thing?
I'm 6 years old.
I don't like the way you said that. Hey, Ross, I know you like cool machinery.
So
we talking backhoes.
Oh, this is something I've never seen.
Yeah.
Okay. I hired
a directional drill.
I hired this company to grind a stump in my backyard. Right.
First of all, I cannot believe the statement that just fell out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I have never heard of him even hiring a company to do. Yeah.
A company.
Yeah. What the hell?
I know. And
where's Tom there?
It was non-BDM related. Yeah. I didn't ask for, it was just, I went on
drugs?
Google.
No drugs involved?
I literally went to Google. I never do this, by the way, ever.
You went to Google?
Do we have a test to make sure this is Tom and not an impersonator?
He just said, I literally went to Google. You are my father. You talk just like my dad. I went to Google.
What if I just turned into your dad?
I would love it. I'll start hugging you. I'd have a better life. I'm like,
get off me.
That's a hell of a science fiction movie, right? Like this Florida guy becomes my dead dad.
And so
Goo.
I'm on Goo and I just find the top one, and then I'm like, all right, this
Really?
stump grinding.
By
place.
the way, that is exactly what my dad would do.
Yeah.
Literally, he wouldn't look down the page. He'd be like, number 1, click, number, call, done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know,
Google's done the work for you.
Yeah.
and you know what's
Exactly.
interesting? A lot of companies have gone to this model, and I'm not used to it. And they were like, I'm like, I got the stump, whatever. It's all text. Right? I'm not talking to a person. I'm like,
Yeah.
I called and
You
left
should
a
have learned
message.
this with Paisley Painting.
No, I know. And then they text me back. They're like, "What do you need done?" I'm like, "I describe
is
it."
this?
They're like, "Send me pictures and draw it out on your picture. What like the area and all that stuff."
Draw it out. You don't know how to do that.
Then, well,
Do
now
you have to Google it again? How to draw on picture.
It took me a couple times.
Get Tommy over there.
And I'm like, "Which one is it? The highlighter or the pen?" So I draw
I
it.
know exactly. Oh, I'm erasing it. Oh, no.
And they're like, how do you change the color?
Oh, it's too skinny. It's a tiny. And then you draw it 3,000 times to make a thick line.
And I also I finish the drawing with all the paint and everything in there, and then I just take a screenshot.
Oh, Grandpa, you didn't just say that. You didn't
No,
say
I
that?
don't know. I don't want to.
Hilarious.
Yeah, if
the
you
guy,
just close it,
yeah,
it'll say
so-
it.
so
the guy
pic-
texts back, charge your phone.
the pictures I sent have the drop down,
Yeah.
the magic marker and the colors. And anyway, so I send it, and then the lady's like, "All right, like $5.75," like, and then I'm like, "Okay."
She just eyeballed it and gave you a price?
Yeah, and then I'm like, there's, by the way, I know you can get in a lot of other companies to ask how much they'll charge. I'm not doing any
Well,
of that.
before you continue,
I'm
the
like,
chat,
deal.
the chat room would like to know what is the fallout, because this is the second part, really, of the story. The first part of the story was last week when you called 811, Sunshine 811 or whatever it was.
Oh.
And so they want to know what happened.
Okay, well,
Do you have to give a follow-up? The chat
All
room
right.
is requesting to know what happened. Did you know you have to call before you dig in your backyard?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course Ross knows that. He's a good homeowner, great dad, good husband.
Well, I called, and then I got spammed by a bunch of companies,
Yeah.
and then I finally got a report back from 811 that showed me a list of companies, and they all said clear except for the city of Castleberry, and it said
And
like
it just had like a picture of Kid Rock,
No.
a small picture of Kid Rock shooting guns in the air. I don't know what that means.
it said
but I think it means freedom. You're free to do what you want.
it said like extreme something like
Okay,
it said,
extreme
like,
something.
it said like not extreme caution but extreme like,
Danger.
Oh
not
no!
even-
It said didn't
Peril.
it say erroneous circumstance or extreme
It
circumstances?
said extreme circumstances.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what the hell does that mean, Castleberry? And then I'm like, I'm not going to call. No one's going to know. No, I'm going to move on. Like, I'm going to look.
So for the record, he got back the guide to where he was digging from 811 Sunshine or Sunshine 811. And all 6 of the companies around there said, hey, you're good to go, except for one, which is the city of Castleberry, that said extreme circumstances.
But it didn't say anything else, like what is under there. And then I know my backyard. I know where the wires are roundabout. I
don't
know
believe
what's
that for a
underground.
second.
I've been
Everything you're
digging in
saying
there.
is a lie. I don't believe.
You know
I
I've been
know
digging.
my backyard. Do you believe that?
I'm in my backyard all the time
Do you believe
digging.
that? Would you bet your son's lives on it? You
I've
know
been-
your backyard?
I've been digging for 10 years
I
back
know you
there.
have. You've also been cleaning your garage for 10 years.
You know,
I don't know. I know you don't know what's in your garage.
You know how many hours I spent high
Oh, I
walking
know.
around my backyard?
I know, but
like,
but you don't know
so
anything.
high that it resets my memory every 30 seconds, and I'm forgetting where I was like, oh, yeah, it's like, oh. Anyway.
God, you know, I hate to take Tom's side, but like if the gas
Okay.
company
Yeah.
and the power company all said like there's no big easement running through your yard, and the city of Castleberry probably said like something like, we don't know. It could be something. We're just not sure.
Okay.
We can't assure you that there's nothing. But end of the day, nobody's running anything through a tree stump.
That's
So
what
if
I
you're
think.
if you're
Yeah.
taking out a tree stump, you know,
It was-
if there is a gas line running through the tree stump, you're kind of doing them a favor by blowing it up.
That's what I thought. Also, I think they meant.
It's also blanking impressive that it's running through a tree stump. I got to see that.
However they did it back in the
Yeah,
day. Yeah,
that's phenomenal. How do you even,
and
how
I
do you even
think
make that happen?
they meant the water lines on my left side because all the 811 asked me is like, what side are you, left or right from the?
That's a
if you're
pretty
standing on
personal
the
question.
and
That's
I'm
what
like-
your tailor asked you.
And so I think they meant like, hey, the water line's over there, so extreme, be careful. But this is in my backyard, not. It anyway, so I was like, all right.
And
we're
from
going.
having surveyed and like having been around engineering for a number of years, like they often you can have a full underground, like the guy comes out with the little machine that can see underneath and stuff, and have that all run, and they still find stuff.
Don't
They
they?
still find stuff.
Well,
It's-
but this isn't for you. I mean, isn't this just documentation that you're going to be given? You know, like, or you're giving it to the people you're hiring?
No, they don't care. They just suggested, they're like, hey, we're not responsible for anything we break, so you got to check it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to grind great.
So
We're going to rip it up.
So if they're grinding and let's say they hit something and you just start spraying water, do they just quietly pack their stuff and drive away?
You would think
like, is that what they do? Like they're like, boom, and it's like there's a geyser in your front yard and the guy just drives everything out, gets in his truck and drives away?
Not every company offers that modern plumbing no explosion guarantee.
I know.
You would think too, like they would be cautious about hitting something that would damage their equipment or themselves, or like hit a gas. Like
maybe we're underestimating how fun it is to destroy stuff with this equipment because like you take more risks when it's super fun.
In my experience with stump grinder guys, they are has there ever been a fence or any fencing near this tree? That is like the only thing they care about because it can tear up those carbide teeth on their machine, and those things cost a lot of money.
Okay, well, because there was like I took down fence so that he
So you
could
lied.
Like it's literally on the fence line of
So
me
he's
and my
like,
neighbor's
was there a
yard.
fence here? You're like, no, sir,
No,
fence here.
they didn't care about that. I cut a fence post with Daniel's Sawzall.
Yeah, I did that back. It's been 15 years.
And he grinded that up crazy
You know when
too.
he borrowed that is when that was in 09. He borrowed that. That's
So-
yeah.
Wow.
09.
Wow.
You know, I'm gonna get you a new one for your birthday.
I don't want a new one. I want that one. I want my heritage. I want my legacy saw.
It's had a little wear and tear since the last time
Just
you
give me
saw
new
it.
blades. New blades.
No, it's got a lot of rust on it. And I never cleaned it ever once.
It's a great sawzall.
There's grass been in it for 10 years.
Like I still got the fingerprints of my father on it.
So,
How long did you own it?
Oh, my dad bought it for me.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like I only owned it for honestly 8 months before this. He borrowed it.
15 years.
Yeah, he's had it for 15 years. And every week he'll use it for a new project. He's used it for everything. That sawzall built his entire mansion. You should bring it in one day just to show people that we're not effing around. Like I think there are people that think that this is a fake thing, and it is not a fake thing. If you brought it in and showed everywhere, they don't even make that model anymore. It's been discontinued for 10 years.
It does make me a D-head. I realize. Like I was just borrowing something and never return, and then use it all the time in the person's face.
Well, it's yours now. It's yours. You've got
No,
it.
that is yours. I'll get it back one day. I'll leave it to you in my will.
In what sense is it Dan's? He has no control
I
over
haven't
it.
seen it in years. I wouldn't even know what it looked like. I was going to describe it full transparency. I was going to describe it for a joke. I don't even know what color it is. I think it's yellow.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's a DeWalt, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're
That's a
the-
goddamn good sawzall.
You're the John Walsh of Sawzalls.
But oh man, you should see the case. It was all the bits, all the blades are organized and everything when I got it. It's a nightmare
I'm surprised
now.
you got the case.
There's screwdriver bits in there. Stuff from other project nails.
Old zip ties,
I lost
broken,
every
yeah.
blade. I have one rusty bent blade that I use.
Still as good as it ever
Anyway,
was.
so the company shows up and they show up with a giant piece of equipment on the back of a trailer,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, because I only have the length, like the width of a standard gate, like a wooden gate to get through.
Okay.
And so he shows up with this giant equipment. I thought it was smaller, like
Did you freak out a little bit?
like hand operated, like kind of like a old school edger used to be.
Like a lawnmower or something.
But something like, this thing was I'm not sure. It was the size of about 2 refrigerators side by side, and then about 2 refrigerators long.
What kind of refrigerators?
Like standard, like not the wide ones, but
Yeah.
the
Okay.
standard, like
Two mini fridges.
2
Like
doors.
two,
No,
you'd have in a dorm room?
full size.
Okay.
And then I have a
Freezer on the top or freezer on the bottom? What are we looking
How
at
many
here?
bananas by how many bananas are we talking?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show Twitch
Double
the-
doors or single doors?
because I've got a video of it.
Stainless steel? Are we talking stainless? Gunmetal stainless?
The
Freezer on the bottom, freezer on the top.
Yeah, that's an important question we need.
So look at this. Oh gosh.
Oh, what are you on porno?
Did it have an ice
Turn your
maker?
VPN off. Turn your VPN off. He's on porno.
No, I
you are.
realized that.
Did it filter water?
Yeah, he's on X videos looking at Big Mouth.
So can
Yeah, I got it on.
Yeah. Look at this thing. So that is the stump grinder. So now this is basically, it was a remote control. So the guy,
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
the guy got out and with a remote control,
Yeah.
backed it off the trailer, drove it through
You don't
my
need
gate.
that. I feel like you don't need it. He could have just been standing on it, right?
And then had this huge blade on the front, and just like, and then side by side, and grinded up the stump, and then it was shooting out it was shooting out black wires.
Hold on a second.
and the only thing that it shot,
Buy my
distance
cable.
was the wires.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. It
everything-
won't shoot the wood.
And the guy was standing right in front of it,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I was like, this guy is gonna get pulled into it and gonna rip his legs
Nah, he
off.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that's what I.
He was driving it towards himself?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was like
Yeah.
getting close
No,
to
if
it.
that
at
guy,
4 feet.
if that guy's using the remote control and he uses it to drive over himself and the remote control,
Yes.
do you just go inside and let it run out of gas?
No,
and act like you don't know what's
it's
happening.
gonna keep going
you
towards my pool and fall.
That's fine, but you gotta
No,
go.
I gotta stop it.
You gotta go inside and act like you didn't know what happened. No, it's like if you were looking at it and it ate his legs. And
Oh,
he's like,
I turn around.
You have to just go inside and put a pillow over your head.
You gotta-
I was taking a nap.
You got to call 811 immediately if that happens.
I have a man. It ate a man's legs, man. Oh my god.
So and it was a big, thick black wire
Yeah.
with
I've seen these videos.
metal shards, and then
Yeah.
it was throwing the wire everywhere,
Yeah.
and it was shooting it out into my
So
neighbor's
now
yard.
it's shooting wire into your pool.
By the way, which I quickly gathered and then threw in the garbage, so that no one would find. Like, I was a word that my neighbor would be like, "What the hell?"
yeah, my power's not working and there's wires everywhere.
And then I
So when Wired started coming out and he stopped, what did you guys do?
He didn't stop.
No.
What?
He didn't stop. He
Yeah.
powered
Oh,
through.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
that
yeah.
guy is he goes through the wire guarantee. Kanye West through the wire.
yeah, he that did not stop him, and he
Yeah.
saw the wires. He just
He'll take milk for what is it? Milk for an insure for dessert. Somebody.
Sipping on the scissors.
Yeah, zip the scissor.
And it-
Yeah, I haven't heard that song in 20
It's been
years.
a while,
but
yeah.
got rid of the whole stump. Now I will say it took him 1 hour. That was it. Then he Then he took the remote control, went back into thing, and then I'm like $575. He sold him
Wow.
which is good money, but he used an $80,000 piece of equipment to do the work of
I mean, how many basic cable packages he has to mow through to pay for that robot?
Like if I went to Home Depot and just got man labor to come just axe this stump out of there, it would take them it'd be probably more than
Well,
$575.
can't you pour gasoline and soak it for days and then light it on fire and then it'll burn for eternity?
Yeah, I would have to deal with my neighbors wondering why I'm the internal flame is
Yeah, it smokes
burning
for days, for weeks. I feel,
and
yeah.
then I
And you
feel-
have an underground fire?
plus I don't think you could burn it out underground
The roots go so far and so deep. Yeah.
and it's wet
Yeah.
mud around it, and
Yeah.
it'll just put out the fire. It was worth it, honestly. And
yeah, a lot of mud after you broke that water pipe running up through it.
Yeah.
and then I
No problems with your internet or anything? Like no
no,
problems with
ours,
your
no.
Okay, good.
I don't know if the neighbor.
Well,
it
you
didn't look
never
like
will.
it.
You never will know. That's the beauty of it. You'll never know.
Well, I imagine that.
And if they come around, they're like, "Hey, you guys got power?" You will like, "Yeah, we got power. Anything going on?" And they're like, "Have you guys had anything equipment or anything around here?" Like, no, nothing around here.
Well, I immediately raked it. Also, my neighbor, because I had all this mulch,
Oh yeah.
10 wheelbarrows of mulch
Right.
from the stump, and I couldn't
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do
But
with
they're
it.
all mixed with wires.
So I was thinking, do I put it in the back of my truck or whatever? So I asked my neighbor, who's super nice, and I've helped her out a lot.
Why are you
She was
prefacing? Why are you saying that?
because
You did
I
something bad to her.
no, I said
That's why you're saying she's super nice.
I said, hey, I was like, do you mind? I grinded the stump, which was halfway on her property, halfway on mine.
Yeah.
She's like, I love that stump.
And no,
My
no,
husband
no.
used to sit on it and
She
do his
apologized.
My husband used to sit on it and do his Bible study.
It was under the grass, but she apologized. She's like,
That was his favorite under the grass stump.
And I was like, do you care if I spread the mulch in your backyard? And just to get rid of it. I don't know what to
Spreading
do
my
with
husband's
it.
ashes in the backyard.
And then she's like, yeah, no problem, whatever.
Don't take any mulch. Just make sure it's not full of wires.
I mean,
yeah, I'm going to go outside and figure out what's wrong with my cable. But yeah, you can go ahead and spread the mulch anywhere you want. But I haven't had cable for days. And my 911 doesn't work.
I put
And I'm diabetic.
I put too much mulch in it.
Oh, you just dumped it all there.
I
you
dumped
put
it
like
all.
a mountain of mulch back there.
And you know how mulch is only really supposed to be bored around the border? Like
Yeah.
I put.
What'd you do?
I just made her whole backyard.
You're the fucking worst neighbor. Would you use the saws all to do this? Oh, I did curse again. I'm too comfortable.
I just the whole, like, I'm not joking, like 20 by 20 section of her back. I just put the mulch in a giant square because I started piling it up.
Like
in the
how many
corner.
fridges worth of?
And then I was like, oh. So I put the fence back up, and I was like, yeah, she'll probably, like look back there and be like, oh, okay.
I also love the idea.
Yeah,
He's
it's like this selfish.
He took the
of me.
fence down, and he's walking in her backyard. But you raised the ground back there 2 feet. Like you
Put it
could
everywhere.
stand,
Yeah.
stand and peek over
Yeah.
the fence. There's so much mulch in her backyard now.
Did she have grass back there?
Not anymore.
Previous?
It's all dead now.
Yeah, it was more like weeds that kind of like turned into just greenery. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
it's just a weed
Yeah,
greenery.
that's the situation I
It's
got.
not
You've
like
been in
it
my
was-
backyard.
I
yeah.
wouldn't put it
Weedery.
on St. Augustine.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it was
yeah.
just kind of weeds, and it was the back corner. But it was like not, normally you just do the corners around the edges. But I ran out of space after, like I did, it was like
Filled her
20
backyard full of
wheelbarrows.
trash.
20 wheelbarrows, and then I just had to keep putting it up, and then I had to spread it with a rake, and then I was like, oh, this is a big square. Like I came off the side, the edge of the fence
So
by
her
10 feet,
whole backyard is wood.
and I was like, the rain will get it.
It just make a wet wood back there.
And then
The good
she
thing
doesn't go
is-
back there that much.
That's gonna kill any good grass, and only the hardiest weeds will survive.
Yeah. You're leaving her with the.
Well, like it was that, or I take it all, I load it into the back of my truck.
Well, it's your trash. You weren't supposed to put it in her yard.
It was
Well,
either.
yes,
It's your trash.
It was
It's
either-
also
it's
not
mulch.
mulch. Let's
It's
not.
mulch.
I want to curse so bad,
No,
but let's
it's-
not mess around.
it's
It is-
organic.
It is not mulch.
It's like a
It
banana peel.
It's a ground stump. Mulch is nice. It looks good. It's dyed a color. It like smells good. This is
No,
is
that's
no,
marketing. That's
no, it's
Home
not
Depot. No.
It's not marketing.
That's
this
big
is not
mulch.
mulch. This is not mulch. This
Big
is,
mulch is, putting a lot of
this
marketing
is
behind it.
tree trash.
It's
this
all
is tree trash.
It was also mixed with an immense amount of soil, which made it
And
kind of-
wires. And wires.
and wires in there, which made it a doo-doo black mulch with
It's
some.
black. What color is the mulch?
It was really just soil with wood chips in it. Then I
What color is the mulch you
a-
spread?
A big 20 by 20
Now,
square.
if Ross and I were doing a decorative garden out here, we would probably use like a burgundy or an orange mulch.
yeah.
What color is the mulch you spread in your backyard?
It was black and brown.
Black and brown.
But mostly
Bruise.
black.
Bruise color.
It was it was really just like loose soil with the chips
With
in it.
wires in it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I picked out them as much wires as I could. Anyway.
I like that you were like, I only had, this is my only choice. It was either this or responsibly dispose of it. I had no choice.
I had to spread the ground up trash in the old
it
lady's
was
yard.
all I could do.
It's ground up trash.
Well, there's a bush kind of blocking her view, so she looks out the window. You can't see it.
Okay.
The bush. She won't see this trash I'm spreading because of her bush.
Now, did
Hey,
you
she's so nice.
did you take concealment of the crime into account, or did that was a happy coincidence?
Well,
I can't breathe. I'm laughing so hard.
figured if she like had a real big issue with it, she would say like,
Too
"Hey,"
old to do anything
like,
about it. You're bullying her.
and then I'll say no. I was like, "All right, I'll do, like, you want me to spend
Did
2
she,
days raking
did she walk out back and go like, "Oh, this looks amazing"? I want to see. Do you have a photo of it? I gotta see what it looks like. Because you just spread trash in this lady's backyard, and you're trying to come off like you're a hero. And I got it. It stops today. It ends today.
I didn't plan on talking about this.
We gotta get a photo.
What? Yeah,
Can Crystal take a photo right now?
Oh God! You know
It looks bad, doesn't it?
Well, she can't get back because I put the fence up and then I closed her fence and
Yeah. So you put the trash back there that you sealed up the walls.
so like there's a zombie in there and then you brick it up. So and then you're like, keep out.
You write it in blood. You put a chain on it. I've seen that. That's good. You need to do that. You need to do that.
Well, she doesn't use her backyard. It's just her and
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
peepee dog that she likes, and
Yeah,
then
and he can pee on wires. It's fine.
and she doesn't let the dog back there because an
Yeah,
eagle
we
or
can't
like a
now.
hawks
He
will
can't
get
now.
it.
He'll eat the wires out.
No, I
rip his
picked out the
intestines apart.
majority of the
start,
wires.
start checking your trash bags over the fence. She doesn't use it. I
Hey,
mean,
you
you
could
might
do
as well
that.
start doing
No,
something.
could
come
do
on.
Yeah.
It's not this. It's
Why don't you
mulch.
just-
It's organic.
Why don't you just take the fence down and just use her backyard?
Okay, if someone threw a banana peel in your yard, are you gonna get mad at that? It'll just
Does
disintegrate.
the banana peel have wires in it?
I feed my staghorn banana peels. It's like plant food.
But not all of us want trash in the front, trash in the back. Some of us don't want trash.
And maybe I don't want like half an acre of banana peels covering my whole backyard.
That's a great point.
Well, the rain will get it eventually, and then if you don't even see it, and then it
looks like-
you don't even know.
Looks like Donkey Kong's been living back there for a month.
Oh my
There's banana
God.
peels everywhere.
Because you know what? You know why I know we hit a nerve? He's when I asked for the photo. We asked for the photo evidence in the backyard, and he's like, I did not plan on talking about it.
Yeah.
That means it's bad back
Well, you
there.
know, you start piling it up in the corner, and
Yeah.
you're like, God, this pile is 3 feet tall already, and then you're like, I gotta rake it out, and then when you start,
Oh, you made a mess.
when you
didn't
start evening it out, then it's like, oh wow,
you
this
made
is.
a mess, didn't you?
It's as big. I'm not joking. It's as big as a studio square. It's in the corner.
When you start
I
throwing
don't-
your coffee grounds and your eggshells over the fence, just make sure you work the fence. You don't want to pick one spot
Yeah,
and make a
he's
big
right.
pile.
He's
You want
right.
to spread it out so the rain can
Well, then
soak it
what
You
do
up.
I
have your
do?
dude. You have your own. We should.
I
talk
don't want to
about-
be this person.
We have to talk about this on the PDM show. You have successfully done something that no man has ever done. You have a private dump. You have your own little
I
dump.
Oh, yeah.
He can just
No,
throw. If
I'm not
done
doing
correctly,
that.
he can throw whatever he wants to in that lady's yard.
No,
she ain't
I'm
gonna
not.
see shit because there's. Oh, I did it again because of the bush. The bush.
No, I'm not throwing. No, this is mulch, and how can I fix it? I don't want to be the
my
person
God.
that's bad to their neighbors. Like,
No.
what if she does
You're
walk
not,
out
you're
and
not,
she's like,
you're
"Oh my
not,"
god."
because she doesn't know. She doesn't know.
She can't see it. There's a bush in the way.
Yeah.
None of us.
Like-
When she went back there and like, oh man, because now I'm feeling guilty that she'll go back there to see like how
She'll
it
never
all turned
go,
out,
No, she's fine.
and then she'll be like, oh, that's that's kind of
Wow, this
rude.
young man had spread trash
No,
everywhere.
I've known her for 12 years.
Paul and his trash.
and how do I fix it, Rose?
Well, I think you've sold me on the rain will take care of it, because if you think about it, you could park like a Sherman tank in your backyard, and on a long enough timeline, the rain's going to take care
True.
of it.
Acid rain too. You might get lucky.
Eventually, the
Get a
rain
little
will get
acid
rid
rain.
of that. You just got to wait it out.
Yeah. I mean, when you're saying the phrase "the rain will take care of it," are you meaning her death? Are you meaning?
No.
I'm
No.
asking.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
All right. Oh,
I didn't mean.
it shouldn't be so public in the radio. We'll switch over.
Well,
to
I'm
the,
getting a divorce. I just don't talk about it.
We'll
If you
switch
need
over.
mulch, call
Yeah.
Tom.
A lot of these things we plan on talking about in the BDM show. Although this I didn't even
Yeah.
want to talk about.
This one we kind of went down a road and.
So we'll be back with more corporate time.
Yep.